right, welcome guys to a very special, different episode, I would say. It's episode 12 now, but I'm not sure if you'll consider this as a regular episode or a quick take. But essentially, something interesting happened today. For those who know, it's for my beloved Kurono brand, which I supported, which you've seen me talk about in multiple episodes. Something happened, and we're going to talk about that real quickly today, right? But before that, just real quickly, Woody is with me today. It's a last minute scheduled podcast, and the rest of us is not able to join us, right? So just the two of us for today. Do you want to do a wristwatch check, or is just jump straight to it?
No problem. I have on my wrist these SBGA 211 Snowflake.
Nice. All right. I just came back and I have my stock with me, the 124060. Recently acquired, but that's a story for another day, right? Today, the main topic is just going to be solely on Kurono, and it's going to be a quick one, right? Okay.
Correct.
So jump to it, right? Straight on Kurono. But before that, I need to put a disclaimer first, right? I am one of the Kurono contributors for 2022. I have been buying Kurono watch. You hear me talk about it as well. I supported the brand. I'm still trying to support the brand. So that just need to put it out there, right? I have Kurono Toki. I have the Kurono Grand Hagane. Hagane is the one that I ordered via my contributor location. And I also ordered the recent Chronograph 2 nicknamed Shiro, right? Also via my Kurono contributor allocation.
Sold out in 4 minutes.
All right. So what we talk about how this whole thing unravels, it's from the aftermath of the release of Kurono Chronograph 2 Shiro, right? Sold out in 4 minutes. People weren't happy that they could not buy it. After they added to cart, they reached their credit cards, they attempted to check out, and then it sold out. And some, after they failed to check out, they couldn't add it back to the cart again, and so on. They're supposedly card holding system wasn't functioning as intended, right? Then today they release a apology post mentioning the difficulties that they face, the traffic that they face. They mentioned that, initially we allocated 20% for contributor and local market, but we actually only have less than 10%. So in fact, we are giving you more allocation already, and we're sorry that you couldn't get one, right? However, the thing that I spotted and I shared in our group that sort of triggered this whole thing and sort of realized that, wait, what's going on? It's at the bottom of it. There's additional comment if any of you missed it. And that's where they say that, guys, we are actually doing our best, and we will help rectify this situation by allowing you to purchase our 2022 anniversary model. So I don't know how you guys interpret that, but what Woody and I see that was like, wait a minute. Way back then, a couple of months ago, you mentioned there will not be any classic Kurono timepieces for 2022. So what does anniversary model mean? Because I interpret it as the Kurono Classic, because your Mori, your Toki are the anniversary model. So are you saying that this year is a different anniversary model? Or flashback, are we getting a Ming 1709 and Messina situation again? Right.
So that's for the context of everyone knowing what references we're making, right? So James is pointing out to October 21st, Kurono's posting, it's right there. They make a post about the classic and they make reference to their originals and the fact that they've been releasing it, but they've got no plans to release anything in 2022 for the classic range because of supply chain issues, right? Now, that term, classic, if you ever go to, you pause right now, go to the website of Kurono, right? And you click on watches and you click on classic, you will see the Toki, you will see the anniversary Mori, you will see the original eggshell white, you will see all of that there. So on October 21st, when they announced that they weren't going to have any, now fast forward a few months, they're going to have one and they're going to try and honor it. What just happened here, right? And if you rewind the clock again, why we made reference to Ming and Messina was Ming went out to do a 1709, right? That was, I always get the serial numbers mixed up. 1709, and they declared final serial production watch from this range, right? Will not be produced again. So final series 7, that's what they said. Less than a month, I think it was even less than 2 weeks later, they released a collaboration with Messina, limited edition. And the great leader said of the brand said that serial production is different to limited edition, and that we got our facts wrong as watch enthusiasts. So for Kurono now to say in October 21st that there will not be a classic for this year due to supply chain issues, and now as part of their announcement, I think apology for what has happened, right, for the 4-minute sale and all that, they're saying that there will be an anniversary edition this year. Sounds oddly familiar.
Flashback, right? PTSD again. So to me, I am hoping, I'm really hoping, sincerely, like, please, because I really like the brand so much. I'm hoping I am misinterpreting it. That anniversary means that it's a special model that they do every year, and it's going to be a large production model every year. I think that part I can still try to give some like a leeway for that if I potentially may misunderstood this. But the things that this is, I don't think I can misinterpret this part where they say that, all right, for the anniversary model, you can purchase, all units, literally, they all caps it ALL. All units within this time frame will be fulfilled. But there is, but the quantity will be less than what they did for Toki. So is it all unit, or is there going to be a quantity cap? It's going to be a quantity cap, right? I don't think I can misinterpret this, right? So there's no two ways about it. They're essentially saying that, all right, they word it in a way which I personally think is very misleading, right? It's like advertisement that has like a disclaimer right there. It's like, get 50% off, and a very tiny disclaimer at the bottom that's like, oh, but capped at 1 ringgit or $1, something like that. It seems to me like that, which I don't think that is very nice at all, right? So as especially when you want to use that as your ammunition to calm people down for all this, for all of them not being able to buy the chronograph 2, which is going to happen again, where people aren't able to buy their anniversary model because it's not going to be for everybody within that. I'm okay with that if it's upfront and transparent. I think that's all I ever asked for. So that's.
I think I think the problem here and why I know it sounds as though we're overreacting, but I think what we've put up on a pedestal almost, right, is the amount of sincerity that Kurono as a brand has exhibited throughout its progress in trying to address that supply and demand imbalance, right? That they are trying to deal with it. And they've done many different steps to try and cool the demand. And whenever they've come up with an apology, it's usually fairly sincere. And it has always come across as that. But this most recent one doesn't feel as sincere anymore. And by virtue of the very mixed messaging that is now coming out, it's almost like someone has found out that maybe this is not what the sincerity is not really there. It's really just like any other brand trying to sell as many as they can, right? And therefore, they are now trying to backtrack a little, or they're going to reveal their cards by saying certain things. I think that's really what's causing our reaction. And in spite of what James is kind of implying that, he's hoping that it's a separate thing and all of that, I actually don't think that's the intention here. I think what has happened is a part of them is feeling that they can sense the people being upset, right? And this is like to calm them down, right? And say, okay, you know what? I'm going to bring forward. Actually, I wasn't going to release something, but I'm going to bring it forward to sort of appease people that there's something you can still get this year. So even though I initially declared that I'm not going to do it, I might as well do it earlier than initially intended. I was also going to kind of give them a pass on it on one very key difference between what happened with Ming and Messina versus Kurono. Now, Ming said it as they launched 1709. That means as part of their marketing campaign, right? They actually declared that. So that tells everybody it's like your last chance to buy, right? So everybody went in and tried to get it. And then they released a limited edition, which was really quite bad taste in the mouth. Whereas in Kurono's case, it was almost declared after all the sales had been done, and they sort of like almost like giving you a brand update. They may not be doing it and all of that. I feel I can give partial pass, but I also feel that that kind of led to perhaps the Hagane and the chronograph being oversubscribed as well, because now you're feeling like there won't be the anniversary one. So whatever they come up with this year, I still want to try and get it. So I don't know if that's sort of consequential or just by coincidence, right? So I think that's where I'm coming from with this. I have no idea, and I'm just hoping that it turns out that some form of sincerity is still coming out of it. I think the fact that they've come out to apologize greatly over and over again, right, does appeal and allow watch enthusiasts to empathize with them. But I do sense there are quite a few people now turning away as well. And maybe they're just the quiet people that just go like, this doesn't seem quite right anymore. But I don't know. I mean, James, what are you actually hoping will happen? So you're saying that the anniversary that they release is like a special series, right? It's not really part of the normal range, kind of, is it?
Yeah. So because there's one, if I'm trying really hard to look at it in their lens, right, I can see it being like anniversary can be applied to different line as well. So it could be.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, because it's when you see that there's the Weiwa and then anniversary Toki, anniversary Mori and so on.
Right.
Perhaps there is a chance that it's chronograph anniversary to chronograph anniversary chronograph to different color. Maybe. I think I don't know. And nobody knows at this point, right?
Yeah.
Only time will tell what they release, right? But like you said, I've always been a fan of how they approach things and how they are very transparent with it and so on. And there are certain, out of all this, the one good thing that they actually talk about is that they actually releasing their new warranty system that you can see transparent is all online right now, which is good to combat like a reseller in one way or another. They have always been very upfront in trying to combat the resale market, which I give them prop for that, right? And right now they are also trying to fast forward the production line. They mentioned that the 2022 anniversary, it's already started in production in November 2021, but then this will contradict in what you say, right? That if it's actually another classic, they have already been planning this in November 2021 already. So what's that
so I
mean,
guess
right?
it's so I think on that note, right, what we're saying is if James is right and the anniversary refers to a non-classic line, right, then we would give Kurono a full pass because technically the definition holds. But what I'm trying to allude to is if it is perhaps exactly what we think it is, which is back to the classic model that they said they weren't going to release, and then they release, I think I personally am not so forgiving. And I still appreciate what they're trying to do to cool the market, but I think both James and I have always felt that it's a good thing that they may want to stop the classic as well, because it's becoming a bit tired. It's just new color range, right? So we also want to see a brand innovate and release something different because they have design principles nailed quite well. And on that point, I also give credit more to the other ones we were comparing to, because Ming actually does push the design envelope every time a new release comes out. So I kind of hope that James is correct as well. I don't think he is, but if he is, then I eat humble pie. It's absolutely fine as well.
Yeah.
I guess that's where we stand on this, right? And I just sincerely hope, and I left this as part of an Instagram story as well. You either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain, right? And that was the exact phrase I said to Ming about Ming. In spite of all of that, I still think he's a great designer. But the whole point is, I personally don't want Kurono to fall down that path. But right now, I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah. I have to admit as well, even as a big fan of the brand, I am putting in all sorts of excuses and factors to try to believe that glimmer of a hope that they are still the hero that we all thought of them, right? And the other possibility that I also thought of is that perhaps they are looking in sort of like they're following the footsteps of like the recent 5711 Tiffany Blue, right? Where they said, hey, right now it's all about colors. What let's maybe just put in the colors that sells and say that we make a comeback, right? We say that we were going to stop this, but we're going to bring another one, and the sales will pour in. So if they're thinking that, if their business lens, good for them for making more sales, but you definitely lose the respect for us that actually believe that they were actually more than just a business, and this is supposed to be a passion project of Hajime Asoka, right? Which what it's originally intended to be. He has really his primary business with his own bespoke line, which has long waiting list that he is waiting for fulfilled, where he's doing this as a passion project to let those
more people get into the brand, really.
Yeah, exactly. And this goes entirely a different direction on what it originally stands for, if that actually happens. And at this point, unfortunately, it's just going to be speculations, assumptions, and what our thought and what interpretation about this. And I really just hope, right? Only time will tell. But yeah, we'll try to get this podcast up hopefully today or tomorrow. It's the 25th of Feb in Asia. So hopefully we get this up today, share it. We'll definitely tag Kurono in there as well and see if we actually respond to some small fries like us doing some podcasts. Right?
Yeah, and if you have your comments of what you think about it as well, just leave it in the comments wherever you've seen this or heard this as well.
Yep. So I think this is wrap it up for a real quick update on what happened in the whole Kurono scandals or Kurono fiasco. And stay tuned. We have scheduled upcoming podcasts already with the guys and everything, and we have potentially a very interesting guest that's going to be on board. We just need to align on some timings, and we'll probably get the we will get the podcast back and up and running in a very timely matter, right? So I think that's it for today. Stay safe, guys, and see you next time.